It's pod number 2.
It is pod number 2. Actually, in terms of our jingle, just to start off, I've actually had more than one person say that their favourite part of the last pod was my brother's beatboxing, and that maybe we should just keep that as part of the jingle. He actually listened to this pod, and he was mortified, but then was like, oh, well, it's what's past is past. I don't know how he'll feel about it being on every episode, but what can he do? Nothing.
Well, honestly, people telling you that was their favourite part of the podcast insults me quite a lot. But we can't withhold from the people what they want, you know.
I know. Does this mean we have to make a change about how... Maybe our last podcast sucked. Maybe it was so bad that a 9-year-old's attempt at beatboxing was better than our stories. I don't think that's true, though. Many people did really enjoy, which comes to my next point, which I need to say before we get into our changes pod, which is my aunt. I talked to her. She listened to the podcast. She's a dog groomer by trade. She also is part of animal rescue things. She knows dogs, okay? She knew where the story was going. She knew immediately. But I told everyone, including you, dear listeners, that we were to consider the whole hand. That's what our hero of the day did. Apparently that's quite unnecessary, and a simple thumb will do, making it thus a true rule of thumb.
I'll give you a thumbs up. All right. Well, yeah, I had good reception on the last episode, at least from those around me. Maybe they don't like giving critical feedback. That could be true. What do they take me for? But it actually puts a lot of pressure, our episode 1, because it was objectively a great story, not just subjectively.
It was a good story. But, Mon, this episode you want to talk about changes. What's that about? Why do you want to talk about changes?
Well, there's been a lot of change, has there not? And one of the greatest ever David Bowie songs is Changes.
Of course.
So that's what I've got in my head.
Changes.
Turn and face the strange. Turn and face the strange?
You are
That's always what
asking the wrong person. You are the Bowie fan in this duo. I don't know why you're possibly asking me this.
I think we've had a lot of change happen.
We have.
Since the last pod, and not just starting a pod. You've had significant change, and I've just had little changes. But I also wanted to say, everybody, listeners, dear listeners, lower your expectations of this pod in light of the last one.
Yeah, it's been like a bit of a wild ride for some. Not all changes are good, are they, Mon?
No. Your changes have been a wild ride, have they, Ash?
Well, yeah, and perhaps that's where we need to acknowledge, in case people weren't aware. I don't know who would be listening that doesn't know this. But, biggest change is that we are currently doing this pod on the line, some would say, because I am in a different country. I am in South Korea, where it is disgustingly humid right now, and I've never sweated so much in my life. TMI of the day. This episode is a bit of a trial run as well, because we're trying to figure out, can we do this over the seas? Across the seas, we will fly.
So, yeah, audience, if you hear the echo of me, it's because, there's a change yet to happen. Let's put it that way.
Good connection.
I've had some changes too.
Oh, yeah?
Changed my hair colour.
Looks great, by the way.
I dyed it darker to look more like you, so people get us confused even more.
You can just absolve my persona in Sydney. No one will know I'm gone.
I'll go down to your parents' house and they'll just look at me from the back and they'll think, oh, our daughter's still here.
Oh, it's actually a bit creepy. It's like a horror film.
Oh, yeah. I'll hide in the basement or something. Anyway, so I changed my hair. I've made a life rhythm change. I joined a gymnasium.
Woo woo!
The context is, listeners, I hate gyms. I think they're so boring. Paying money to go to a room to lift things seems like
a scam.
And just not, just no. And
but you look like you lift, though, Mon.
Do I?
What a strong woman.
Oh, goodness. Strong in spirit. Yeah, so I decided to go to the gymnasium, I like to call it the gymnasium, with my mum, and then just decided that in the change of you leaving me, that I should replace the time I spend with you with my mum.
Nice.
So then I signed up. On my first day by myself, I went to my local one here in North Stratty, and entrance is really hard to find, by the way, just, you know.
If anyone's curious about where it is.
And it's top secret. Anyway, but I go in, I find my way in, and then I'm, filling in all these forms. There's this guy called Theo there, and Theo's getting me to sign out forms. He's like, do you want 24 hours access? And I was thinking, that would be a change.
That would be a change indeed.
But I thought, who knows? So I filled out the forms. And then he says, oh, wait, do you need to fill in this bit? It was a part for your parent or guardian to sign if you were under 18. This Theo man thought I was 17.
Bless his cotton socks.
Almost every listener knows what I look like. I think that's pretty impossible. But when I go to the gymnasium, when I do exercise, hair in a high ponytail, okay? Mm-hmm. No hair on the sweaty neck, okay?
Ew,
it's rule number one. So maybe it was the high pony. But the look I gave him, and I said to him, like, are you trying to flatter me or something? And he looked like he'd seen a ghost or something. He was so embarrassed. He looked down at my date of birth, which is on the form. And to this day, I see him like most days because I go in like 6 days a week now, Ash.
Yeah, that's great.
Why I do that is context to come. But I see Theo every day. He smiles and says hello, and then has this unsure shift in his expression. He remembers, and I remember.
We all remember.
Yeah, good on you, Theo. If you're listening, if you find this, thank you, no thank you. Little bit insulted, but it's okay.
Oh, Theodore.
Disposition of a 17-year-old.
I also had an instance of someone thinking that I was like way younger than I am. And it's one of those things where when you're in a country that's quite different ethnically, you just got no idea. I remember being here maybe 5 years ago, and I went to dinner with a couple of church girls. One of these girls, really cute, short, I was maybe 25 at the time. Honestly, I thought maybe she was 19, 20. This other girl I was good friends with, we started reading the Bible together. I thought she was my age, maybe a year younger. That's what I was thinking. We're at this dinner, and the little girl's like, starts talking about her life and how she, like, after graduating school, like, as in university, I was like, hang on, you've graduated? And then she says, oh, I lived in Turkey for 9 years, and I was like, hang on, what? I was like, what? And I'd already made a joke about, oh, you know me, like, I'm getting old kind of thing, thinking I was the oldest one there, like an absolute idiot. And then they kind of looked at each other, and then later they said, how old are you? And I said, oh, I'm 25. And they're like, oh, okay. The girl who I thought was my age or younger was 29. And I was like, no. And then the girl who looked 19 was 33. And I was thinking, what is happening to me? A very embarrassing moment, but thankfully they were very forgiving. And she did acknowledge that she looks very young. Even Koreans think she's very young. It's not just that she has skin that, you know, she's drinking from the fountain of eternal youth. It's actually that she just looks like a child, some would say. But yeah, people think I'm all kinds of ages here, but thankfully never older than I am. So that's nice.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so back to the story. So then I walk up the stairs and go to this class, and I'm really early because I'm like, want to make sure I get a spot. And up there is an old Greek lady. I'm pretty sure she's Greek. Haven't confirmed that. And she sort of sees me waiting, and she's waiting, and she comes up and says hello to me. She says, hi, my name's Juliana. Are you new here? And I was like, yeah, this is my first day. She says, oh, do you know about all the classes? And I'm thinking, this woman can't be on staff here. She's way too old. This is an old woman. She says, oh, yeah, we go to the classes every day and we have coffee after every class, every day of the week.
Oh.
Do you want to come today? And so I do the class, then we go have coffee, and I'm introduced to all these women who are my mum's age, or these old women. They're so lovely. They love me because I'm young. I think they think I'm young as well. That I think they thought I was like 23 or something, which, you know me, Ash. I turned 23 and I've acted 23 ever since. So now I'm a woman who goes to the gymnasium 6 days a week and have coffee with these old ladies. And the other day I saw our friend Jane with a Y, Jane. The trendy Jane. I call her Trendy Jane. She saw me and she was like, I see these old ladies every day. I said, yeah, I'm one of them now. I'm one of them. And the first day they were like, when's your birthday? We celebrate our birthdays. We go out for lunch. The person whose birthday is chooses the thing. And the context of this, listeners, is like, this isn't like a funny story, but it's really like God's gift. Because for me, look, when I left to go down for coffee, I remembered why it is that I hate the gym. It stinks. No one chats. Everyone's like serious. You know, people go for fitness, general fitness. Okay, that is not a motivating factor for me. People go to look better. Nah, that's not a motivating factor for me. Maybe people go to flirt. I don't know.
Ew. I couldn't imagine a worse environment.
And if you said to me, what would it take me to go to a gym most days a week? Old, non-Christian ladies who I can share Jesus with and have coffee with every day is exactly the answer.
Yes.
So that's been a change in my life. Now I'm a gym junkie and I spend a lot of money on coffee.
Oh, dang.
So that's one change.
That's great change. I realised that some of the changes, there have been a lot of good changes since coming to Seoul. One of them being that me and my sister, not naming names, Mackenzie, but we are quite obsessed with bubble tea in Sydney.
Yeah.
And they only have Gongcha here, which I hope I don't get sued for this, but I don't like Gongcha, everyone, okay? Just so you know. I'm a cha time girl. I mean, they do have a lot of iced tea here. And I went to this market with a friend, our friend Jiwon. It wasn't bubble tea, but because it was such fresh peach tea, they had like peach bits down the bottom. So it kind of felt like I was drinking a bubble tea. And it was like $2.80. And it was this giant thing on a boiling hot humid day. And I was like, this is about a quarter of the price that I would pay for something like this in Sydney. And I'm loving it. So yeah, so some of those changes have been really good. We were thinking though, Mon, and I don't know how much you actually thought about this. I don't know if I've got anything nailed down, but we were thinking about what's a change that no one would ever believe. Like, you think of one for me, I'll think of one for you. We can even think of one for ourselves. But what's an outrageous change that if I suddenly said, oh, I'm doing this, or I think this, or I believe this, whatever it is, have you thought about something that no one would ever believe is a change in my life?
I thought of a few things, which made me realise that both you and I, one of the things that defines us is we know what we like and what we don't like.
Yeah, I am strong on those points.
There's a few things that come to my mind, and some of them are like our joint things. So one immediate one, because it was only recently that I discovered your loathing of this as much as I do. So a change that no one would believe in yours or my life is that our new favourite food is licorice.
Oh, disgusting.
That stuff is disgusting.
It's like they would give it to prison inmates or something.
Like I have a little bit, sometimes I think of a conspiracy that everyone's just pretending to like it.
Yeah.
Surely.
Hate it. I was thinking of one for me, and maybe this just is leading into another topic, which is personal icks, but I feel like no one would ever believe that I'm attracted to a man who drives like an idiot. No one would believe it. It's one of the biggest icks.
No one would believe it.
I have a couple of friends, not many, but a couple of friends, and even one woman I can think of, but mostly dudes. They just drive like an absolute moron, and I'm like, who are you? Why are you so immature? There's something wrong with your frontal lobe. I don't understand. And it's not just like, oh, I'm not very good at driving. It's like, nah, I'm a hoon and I want to be cool and I have my personalised number plate. Maybe this is getting too specific.
That's right. Personalised number plate. That's the telltale. The Subaru with a personal.
Oh, some people may know someone like this. I do. And it's just a personal ick, and the ick leads to mistrust. I feel like even though they can be great in other ways, or they'll prove themselves to be great, in this or that way, I just don't fully trust them. And some people don't really care about that, but I'm a big stickler for the laws of the road. And so, it's just an ick of mine. I don't think anyone would believe that I'm like, oh, here's my new crush or my new boyfriend. He is an idiot. That's not what would happen.
And then there's people who give off the vibe that they would. Like, I think that's another thing for you. Like, if you turn around and said, Monique, you wouldn't believe this, I'm now a massive Charlie Puth fan.
I took a drink at the wrong time.
I just love Charlie Puth.
Oh, look, okay, just to put it out there, it's actually nothing to do, I know you don't like the sound of his voice, and you have reasons for that because you're much more musically inclined or whatnot. I think he's very talented. I do. I don't love some of his songs. I can sing along to. I disagree with Taylor. Charlie Puth should not be a bigger artist. He's possibly too big, and it goes to his head a little bit. I know people will disagree, and that's fine. Look, I don't know Charlie personally. Charlie Puss, as some people would call him. But I feel like he's not my kind of person. And look, I could be wrong. Maybe I'll meet him one day, and I'll be like, oh, you know what? He's great. I take back everything. But that is a change that I don't think you would believe very easily.
No. Oh, Charlie Puth's coming to Seoul, and I'm going to his...
I bought VIP meet and greet tickets to Charlie Puth. Big change in my life. Said no one ever.
Can you think of anything for me? Like a change you would just never believe?
Well, I think there are so many things, honestly. Honestly, there are so many things. And they range from the ridiculous to the serious, but for some reason, I don't know why this is the first thing I thought of. And maybe it's because of the changes you've been talking about. But the first simple one was, you'd never go bleach blonde. I just can't imagine someone saying, Monique has dyed her hair bleach blonde from scalp to tip. She loves it. And I don't believe that. It would never happen. But I wonder if it's something like, oh, Monique has a new hobby and she's decided to be a weekly MC at the local drag show. That's possibly one of the least imagined things in my mind.
Oh.
See, you're feeling uncomfortable just imagining that change, aren't you?
Absolutely. And how much I should expound on that. See?
You don't even have to expound. People will probably understand.
No.
Especially, most of our listeners know you. They'll understand.
Yeah. Just like, well, maybe 2 words at least. Misogynistic and talentless. They're my
Well, I must say,
they're my 2 things.
Sometimes the talent that I do notice occasionally is the ability, if they have it, because there's a lot of falls on those stages, but the ability to wear the heels that they do and do what they do in those heels. Can't say I've ever tried.
Do you remember that one time, Ash, when I was messaging this guy?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And I literally had just said to you, I think it's going well. And then...
You can't even finish.
I can't finish. He asked me like how my weekend was or something, and I told him. And then I asked the same question, and he said, I screenshotted it. Do you remember exactly what he said?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember the gist.
He said that he went to a drag show.
Loved it.
Oh yes, no, it was drag bingo, and he'd never been before, and he really liked it. I ghosted him. I don't think
You're terrible.
I think that was the last message. Oh, no. Then I said something to like move the conversation on. Something like, oh yeah, was there a highlight? And then he said probably that show I went to last week. And I was like, no, I didn't respond anymore. Oh, goodness.
Well,
So yeah, that is something, a change that I would never make.
he's not even your worst experience, though, I would say, of people that you've messaged and or dated in the past. We've had some interesting times.
I have. Out of
on.
all the things he could have possibly said.
It's not me, it's you. That's essentially the the problem. Oh, actually, okay, this is completely off topic. I just realized that I want to know, and this could be contentious, but to let listeners know, as of this day, 20th of August, I think that's the day, I've not watched a single thing or read a single thing about this, is it Raygun or whatever? And Monique said we need to watch it, but I said I can't. I can't. That's the kind of secondhand embarrassment that, like, I can handle the Office US version. I can't handle the Office British version. And if you know, you know. Like, there's a reason for that. And I feel like Raygun is one of those things where I feel very sorry for her. And I know it will be hilarious. I know it will be. I'm a big fan of physical comedy. But I've said, Monique, that, well, if we're going to watch it, we have to watch it together. And you're going to be here with me in a week. So we can hold on to that. I've seen a couple of friends on the internet share various thoughts. Nothing too deep, nothing too profound, nothing nasty, which I wouldn't believe you would do anyway. But do you have any immediate thoughts about the Raygun situation?
I don't feel sorry for her.
Great.
At
Why
all.
not?
Because she has a PhD in breakdancing.
What? How is that possible? Okay, I have more of a problem with breakdancing being a PhD topic than it being in the Olympics, honestly.
Yeah, but it's classic. It's like the intersectional whatever. But it's something like really like critical theory
What?
coming into breakdancing. And, you know, like you just need to see it. It's just really funny. Like, it just needs to be a cultural moment. And I think the thing that why I don't feel sorry for her is, like, she thinks she's really good.
Oh yeah, that's the worst part. That's why I can't, you know, some people love watching the auditions on YouTube of, like, you know, American Idol or whatever, where people are so bad. It's very rare that I can handle that. I want the inspirational auditions. I want the ones that bring tears to your eyes. I want the underdog, things like that. I don't want the please Lord make it stop now moments. I can't do that.
Look, the best way to describe it is it's very Mr. G.
I love that. I love that though. Oh my gosh.
It was like watching a new We Can Be Heroes person was going for Australian of the Year because of their efforts in breakdancing.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
I believe that.
It's top tier. Like, it's really good. So funny. You'd have to think you're a good dancer if you were going to do that at the Olympics.
Oh, it's just so cringe. It actually makes me think of a couple of memes I've seen recently. One was kind of just imagining if the Olympics each Olympic year were like Hunger Games style, where random civilians got picked for whatever events and you just had to do your best and try to... I was just thinking, what's the last one I would want to do? And it's possibly the pole vault I was considering. It terrifies me. I'd probably die. It would be embarrassing. But there's many other things that, you know, I couldn't do, which takes me to the next meme that I only saw this morning, which was our great Judi Dench plays a very, you know, important character in a very important film of a very important novel by Jane Austen. And there's a particular scene where she talks about Elizabeth playing the piano and she says, if I should have learnt, I should have been a great proficient. And the meme essentially says, that's me on my couch watching the Olympics at every point. And I thought, sometimes I wonder, like, oh, what if I trained since childhood for this thing? But not once have I thought, yeah, I would have gotten to the Olympics for anything. I don't think for anything. If I had to go... I mean, there's things I would choose to, like maybe I'd want to be an awesome triathlete or something like that. But in the world of reason, what could I reasonably have gotten to that stage in? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Maybe breaking, if that's the new standard that we're going by.
I can't wait till when I force you to watch it and I tie you down and make you watch it. Like, hold your eyes open. because you will do an amazing impression. Amazing.
Well, fortunately for our listeners, our pod will never go visual. It will stay audio. That's a decision that I've had from the start. It means that on days like today, I can stay in my pajamas. Well, is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
So my primary school motto was manners maketh man.
Oh.
And we have a new thing, which is hair maketh the man.
I mean, if you want to link it to changes, some changes are really good and others are really bad. I don't know how that was the first time you'd heard it. I've been saying the hair maketh the man for a number of years now because I just don't think many things are more true than that. And, I mean, it's true of women too, but typically women can get away with a lot, whereas men also make bad choices more than women do. And if there's a bad haircut, a guy goes down 100-fold in terms of physical attractiveness. And look, some bad haircuts work better on others. I feel like there are even a couple of people who can rock a wolf cut, but I wouldn't be telling my pastor to get a wolf cut. You know what I mean? I know it's the hair maketh the woman too, because listeners, if you could see me right now, I have my bed hair. I have the hair of humidity. It's not attractive.
You look good.
No, it's not. Like, I'm just a frizzy-haired girl. So I know that I look 10 times more attractive if I do my hair properly. That is ever so true for our male counterparts. And so if you are a man listening to this, please consider, even just ask a trusted woman in your life. Maybe not your mum, because she could be too harsh or too kind, depending on who your mum is. But ask them like, how do you like my hair? Tell me honestly but kindly. If you got to style my hair for me and my face, how would you choose to do it? Just ask a trusted woman. I think women have a good eye for these things, typically more than men do. So that's my admonishment for the day.
You know, in the K-dramas, when the main male character starts with like forehead.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're
The CEO.
they're untamed and a bit of a jerk. Then there's some change at like episode 6 or 7. They all of a sudden have a fringe.
I just want the listeners to
That's probably
picture
laughing.
Monique giving herself a fringe. It's not great, I'm just going to say.
So bad.
You look like Stevie Nicks from the
So we
70s.
should have video. You look
Like Stevie Nicks in 75. Not the lips, but yes, the hair.
Yeah. Well, I do have very 70s curly, crazy hair at the moment right now.
Looks great.
Look at that.
It looks great. I feel like what I need to say at this moment, though, I cannot go without telling this story now that we've gone here. So, about a week before I left the country, still living with my family, I hear my brothers, 12 and 14, they're like giggling and screaming and running around, and then I see them running shirtless outside, in the middle of winter, by the way, with a can of like blue hairspray, and they've been spraying each other, whatever. And I said, that's fine, just do it outside, you know? You can't do it inside. Be careful not to ruin things. I then I'm going upstairs, and then through upstairs, I hear like screams but laughter, and including my sisters. And my sisters are 18, and they're not fussing about, you know? They don't do this kind of idiocy. I open the door, and Grace is like running after one of them with a phone, being like, no, come back. And I was thinking, what is going on? And then my brother, Tom, 12 years old, walks up the stairs, and into view is like, the only thing I can describe that it reminds me of, have you seen the recent trailers for Beetlejuice? The crazy, creepy guy with his crazy, disgusting hair. Imagine that with blotches of blue spray paint. My brother had literal chunks out of his hair. And my brother, this is a brother who at the start of the year actually had golden locks down to his shoulders. And then partway through the year, longer hair that kind of, I don't know, falls around the ears. Your kind of typical shaggy-haired teenage boy. So not short.
Blonde.
And
but blonde.
Still long.
Makes it creepy.
And
Blonde.
there were chunks. There were literal chunks. It looks like he's been thrown under a lawnmower and then chunks have been taken off, and it looks worse because of the blotches of spray. It's not even like spray paint is everywhere. It's just like little dots of spray. It's creepy as anything. And it's happened because he and his idiot brother were like, let's shave our sideburns, which also didn't go well, by the way, because they didn't know where sideburns were meant to end and start. The key point here is that they'd got Dad's razor, like the electric shaver, and just had it on setting 0. 0. Straight to the skin. 0. So my 14-year-old brother has like completely shaved off sideburns. It's creepy. It's weird. My other brother said, oh, I want to try and do like neaten up the back of my hair. Of course, tries to do it himself, setting 0, reaches behind, straight back of the skull, just chops it off. Just a chunk chopped off. I say, you've got to go talk to Mum. I need to fix this. The only way to make it not completely stupid and visible is to shave your entire head. We're not talking shiny bald, but we're talking buzz cut as low as you can go. The kid now looks like a criminal. I don't think I can repeat the jokes that I made about him on the air in case they're too politically incorrect. But he didn't look well. He didn't look like a healthy boy who lives in 2024 Australia. He's slowly, it's getting back. It's slowly getting back. It's still buzz cut, but it looks less sickly now. The blue has finally come off his skin. It's stained it for a while. There you go. That's a change. Big change. And actually, if anyone's on my Instagram, you can see when I left Sydney, they both have those new haircuts. So Tom's was a little bit shorter than in the photo. So there you go. Hair maketh the man, and there was no man to be found in this scenario.
Well, that's the end of the pod. We've had the admonishment, which is consider your hair. And, you know, if you need old ladies to have coffee with to help you go to the gymnasium, then hit me up. If you need a young man to tell you that you look 13 years younger than you are, then Theo's your man. And
or consider moving to Seoul.
Move across the seas and make all sorts of changes. But the constant that you love is the air conditioning.
It leads me to give a spoiler of the next episode, which,
yes.
Look, we're flying by the seat of our pants in this situation, but without knowing the topic, I can say we will be coming to you live. Not live, that's a lie. There's no way we'll be live. But we will be recording in Jeju Island, a glorious resort-type place. Haven't picked our environment, but it may well be our hotel room because that place be bougie. It's got great views. Or maybe by the side of the pool, just don't know. Maybe we'll even grab a tourist or grab a Korean man who's very good looking and say, want to be a guest on our show. And they don't know how few people listen, but it could be great. Who knows? We could make a new friend. That'd be wonderful.
Also saying if you found this one a bit dull, then keep that to yourself and
don't tell Monique, that's for sure.
Next one.
Monique will unfriend you and probably do a shout out in a bad way in the next episode. But don't let that tempt you. Next episode, we'll describe the beauties that are in front of us. And by that, I mean the world. I mean the creation of the world.
You don't mean Avril and Beth?
Yeah, that's right. Let me describe to you Avril and Beth before me.
The beauties in front of us.
It might be a lot more interesting. And probably because we'll have been spending time together physically, there will be things that we'll have found so funny that we can remind each other of. Because there's bound to be things that we've forgotten about in the few weeks past. So look forward to the next step.
Should we call the end of the pod?
Calling it.
We'll let you go out with your favourite jingle as voted by the people. And thanks for being with us through the changes. Mm-hmm. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Sometimes changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change.